Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 43 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles. I'm here with Jackson and Nick. Guys, how are you doing today?
Hold on 1 second. I gotta. I'm just
Oh,
Wait, what?
regular blind NBA referee in the 2023 playoffs.
what?
Don't mind me. I'm just gonna
Oh boy, what is going
settle in for
on
the rest
here?
of the pod
I
here.
think she's me. Like when I pull out the broom. No, you're
I'm
not
sorry.
me.
I can't see anything.
Well, you can hear, can't you, idiot?
Yeah, I can hear.
Oh,
No, but seriously, how bad have the refs been in the playoffs this far?
I think they've been great. Every game I've watched, they've been fantastic.
What about that DiVincenzo screen that they called in the last 20, the last 15 seconds? I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of baiting. Like I feel like you can bait the refs into almost anything. Now, like especially, it's just been a lot recently. They're going to Secaucus, and like I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm watching the Cavs game today, and it's the fourth quarter with like 7 minutes or so to go. After a timeout, Cavs are up like 14 or so, and Jaylen Brown just completely falls on the ground on a screen, like he flops on a moving screen, and I just feel like you can bait the ref. It was like a point in the game where it's like, okay, it feels kind of like I guess the refs can make a mistake here. I don't know. That might just be me.
yeah. I mean, it feels the officiating definitely can be inconsistent. That's my biggest problem with the officiating. But of course, I mean the refs are human just like us. It's hard to be perfect every single play, but it has been inconsistent to me by quarter with how much they call on certain things.
It's like the refs are not. They just have way too much of a hand in how the result of the game happens. Like the past couple um, pool reports about Madison Square Garden have been very inconsistent and just not as transparent as I guess as you would want. It's just like foggy and there's a lot of gray area. And
Yeah, I mean the officiating. There were some comments that Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle made about the officiating after Game Two of the Pacers Knicks, but we'll get to Pacers Knicks at some point. We are once again recording a late night podcast. The games on Thursday night just wrapped up. We are in the early stages, I would say, of the second round of the 2024 NBA playoffs. And the two games tonight, pretty good, pretty interesting results so far. We have two teams evening up their series. First, let's start off with the Celtics Cavaliers and the Cavs evening their series against the Celtics one game apiece, 118 to 94, dominating the Celtics in the second half in Boston, giving the Celtics just their sixth loss at home this season. This was a crazy result after the Celtics blew out the Cavs in game one by 25 points. And it really was a turn of the script from game one. After the Celtics, it seemed like couldn't miss a shot in the second half of game one. It completely flipped the other way in game two.
yeah, Brown and Tatum combined, they were 14 of I believe like 50 or so. They were 7 of 17 each, so whatever that adds up to. But Boston together, they shot 23% from deep, just not very good overall. I mean,
Their second worst shooting game of the season, I looked up, which is crazy.
Well, they were
yeah,
missing, and they just kept chucking threes up. I'm like, why?
Yeah, see
Like,
that's exactly what my thought was. I thought in the first half, the well, and really the second half of game one, I thought the Cavs did an excellent job of forcing the Celtics into difficult shots. In game
it's
one, the
not that
shots
hard.
fell, and a lot of them were from three. In game two, a lot of them were one-on-one isolation and also inside the three-point line. The Cavs made an emphasis to try to make the Celtics shoot from inside the arc. You know, their MO is firing up a bunch of threes. And I think once the Celtics weren't getting up a whole lot of threes, they didn't have a lot of threes attempted
no,
in
they
the
only made
first
8.
half. Yeah, they attempted 17 threes in the first half. So it seemed to me like at halftime, Joel Mazzulla and the coaching staff was like, "Hey guys, we need to get up more threes," and they just came out in the third quarter and started chucking from downtown.
The Cavs also started to shoot more threes in the second half too. Like they came out firing as well. The Donovan and Darius, or they each had one in the first couple minutes, and the Cavs
Darius
just
hit
made
three.
shots.
Darius hit three early in the third, and I was like, okay, Darius. Because
Yeah, it was
I
kind
mean,
of
I was
similar to
like,
what happened in that Game 7 versus the Magic when like they just turned it on after halftime.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like that for sure. And the 3-point numbers, I was actually curious about this because the Celtics, like I said before, they've this season, the Celtics particularly have taken the most and made the most threes in the NBA this year. And I was wondering, how many times have they been allowed, to shoot a limited amount of threes, and what's their record in those games? So, looking at the stats for really both of these teams, the magic number is 13. For the Celtics this season, regular season and playoffs, when they make 13 or more three-pointers, they are 62 and 11, an
Dang.
insane record. When they make only 12 threes or less, they are 7 and 9.
Hmm.
So it's a huge difference. And then conversely for the Cavs, when they make 12 or less three-pointers, they're 20 and 25, 5 games below 500. And then 13 or more threes, like in this one in game 2, they are now 29 and 17. So 13 is the magic number from downtown for both of these teams. And it went the Cavs' way in this one. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes heading to Cleveland for games 3 and 4, because we know in the first round for the Celtics and the Heat sort of did this in game 2, and then they sort of lost their shot the rest of the series. But obviously, the
well, that's
Cavaliers
case.
have way more, weapons than the injury-riddled Heat.
Their main weapon. Let's talk about Donovan Mitchell. The last 4 games, I got it right here: 54 and 4, 39 9 and 5, 33 6 and 5 in a game 1. So in the 50-point game, he outscores the rest of his team. He scores 50, they score 46. Then he goes for 39 9 and 5 in the biggest game 7 comeback in history. And then tonight he leads them to the huge game 2 win to set up a critical game 3. And just looking at the ticket prices, this is kind of interesting. Uh, it was $85 to walk in the door right after halftime in game 2 of this Boston Celtics versus Cavs game. And then after the buzzer, those ticket prices have now gone up to you can't get in for less than $125.
Yeah, and I think it's important to mention too that this game was tied at halftime. I believe it was 54 apiece or 52 apiece at the
Dude,
half.
so the
54.
way that got set up there in the second half, Jalen Brown coughs up the ball, basically hands it to Isaac Okoro,
And then
and then
fouls.
fouls him at half court to give him a free throw because we were in the bonus, and that's what tied the game. And then we hit 2 threes right to start the second half.
Yeah, I mean the second half was just insane by the Cavs. It was a true Cavalanche, and it was a ton of fun to watch. Now, I think we would be remiss if we did not talk about Evan Mobley's insane game, because he came out from the jump aggressive, looking to make plays for himself and for his teammates. Finished with a playoff career high 21 points, also had 10 boards and 5 assists, and he was making things happen in the first quarter.
Yeah, Jackson, I know you said that you were surprised to see him shooting threes.
Yeah, he pulled a couple. It wasn't like an insane amount, but he pulled a couple. And I mean, I wasn't able to watch a single Cavs game this year because in our area, I guess it doesn't let us watch.
Yeah,
So I just
League Pass. Let us watch local games, please.
I
That's
think we'd also be remiss if we didn't mention Tristan Thompson.
yeah, Tristan was huge. Yes, he was very, very huge. Um, Evan
I think
Mobley, yeah. Or go ahead,
we
Jackson.
need to we need to give Darius Garland some flowers too, because I think people in that first half were kind of like, I mean, where I was watching it, people were like kind of ripping on Darius because he didn't play that well, and then second half he just came out shooting. He was making shot after shot. I mean, he's the one who kind of started the Cavalanche, in my opinion. He made three threes early in the third, which kind of got the ball rolling, and then everyone else followed suit.
Yeah, it feels like the Cavs made way more than just 13 threes in this game, but they made them at a super efficient rate,
Yeah.
46% from deep. But yeah, Tristan Thompson, man, Evan Mobley, he picked up a tough couple of fouls in the third quarter. to get him into some foul trouble, and he came out at the around 5 minute mark of the third, and this was after the Cavs took around an 11-point lead, I believe, so something around there, 9 to 11 point lead, and JB Bickerstaff, he didn't go to Tristan Thompson in the first half. He decided to go smaller with his bench rotation, which I found a little interesting. It did not go well at all. So in the
I
second
like the
half,
Marcus
when
Morris minutes though.
yeah, Marcus Morris I think was good. The George Niang thing I
Get
found
him off
funny.
the court. If if he's on the court again this series, they lose. He's
I
not
found
good.
it so funny because it's like, okay, this is a series where I know Cavs fans are always like, Sam Merrill, we need to play Sam Merrill. I don't think this is a series for Sam Merrill, but I thought that the philosophy was kind of funny how it's like, okay, Sam Merrill, we're not going to play you because of your defense, but we're going to play George Niang. It's like,
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense. But anyways, JB made the adjustment in the second half, put in Tristan Thompson, and Tristan turned back the clock a little bit, making big effort plays on the glass, defensively, getting some tough rebounds, and it was
Playmaking.
huge. Playmaking had a nice backdoor pass, a good ATO by JB Bickerstaff to start
That
the
was
fourth
good.
quarter. That was
Yeah.
very, very good. Yeah, just a great performance by the Cavs. Karis LeVert was huge too. He finally stepped up. It had been a big struggle for him in the postseason. If you are the Boston Celtics, what do you take away from this game, if anything?
We gotta make more shots.
Yeah, I mean, is it just as simple as we need to get higher quality shots?
Yeah, I don't think. I feel like just watching it, it was like they settled a lot. Maybe just more like uh focus, like dribble drive penetration to get guys moving on the offense, like forcing more defensive rotations rather than just getting one pass and chucking.
Yeah, I mean, the Boston Celtics' biggest weakness is always when um they go away from their philosophies of moving the ball, getting the best shot possible, and against a defense like the Cavaliers that can step up at any given moment, you need to move the ball and not let the ball stick because the Cavs do have, a lot of solid perimeter defenders. Now, of course, we know Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, those are, your best defenders, but guys that aren't as big names on the defensive end like a Strus, a Donovan Mitchell, Karis LeVert,
Mm-hmm.
they can give you effort and force difficult shots. And I feel like the Cavs were forcing the Celtics into the shots that, I mean, they wanted the Celtics to take.
Yeah, it was like Al Horford hitting corner threes. I'm like, we gotta live with that.
Yeah, exactly. The Celtics starting lineup did not make a three in the second half of the game. They went 0 for 13 in the second half of action,
I don't see
and
that happening again.
I don't see that happening again either. I mean, this could just be the case that the Celtics were cold, the Cavs were hot. We'll see how it goes going back to Cleveland, but it definitely makes things very very interesting. These two games in Cleveland because the crowd there is going to be crazy for these games.
Mm-hmm.
Should be a lot of fun. Definitely big for the Cavs to get a win in Boston without Jared Allen in the lineup too. Now, don't I personally think that he probably won't come back this series, which is unfortunate, but I just don't. All the reports keep saying that he's in excruciating pain, and when you see whenever they cut to him on the bench, he never gets up from the bench to cheer or anything like that. Like you can tell it's definitely making an impact on him.
Oh, but
So
he's in so much pain. Then why did he smile when the camera looked at him?
Because we
Why
were
did he
winning
smile?
today.
because we were winning, everything gets better when you win.
Even your right rib contusion.
Even your right rib piercing.
What the heck?
You
Where's
guys have
Barry
any?
Allen?
You guys have anything else on this game or this series? All right, let's go on to the Dallas Mavericks. Evening the series with the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 2, 119 to 110, in a very offensive-minded battle for the first three quarters. I would say it was a very very high-scoring game, but the Dallas Mavericks defense picked up in the fourth quarter and they pick up the big road victory.
Got two words for you. PJ Washington.
Yeah, yes.
Dude hit 7 threes tonight.
Uh,
29 points, 11 rebounds, 7 threes for PJ Washington. I mean, this was a
he's had,
special performance.
I mean, he's had high scoring games before, like when he was with Charlotte, but I think this is the best game of his career so far.
Talking about being efficient from behind the 3-point line, Dallas shot 18 for 37 in this one. That's pretty efficient.
Very,
Luka 5
yes.
for 8. Luka looked good, I thought. He went for 29, 10, and 7. And Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway heard the noise, and he said, I don't care. I'm here." He had 10 straight in the third quarter and really like pushed them over the top when like the Thunder were making a run. Hardaway got hot, and it definitely helped out Dallas there in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Hardaway's a guy that got off to a super hot start this season, was in big runnings for sixth man of the year early on, but he really tailed off as of late. Like going back, over the last couple months of the season, he had only 7 double-digit scoring games since March. And he played every single game besides the 4-game stretch that he missed in the
That's
first round against the Clippers.
atrocious.
Yeah, and he was
That
shooting
is
really bad. His
atrocious.
his defense was really bad, but that was the opposite in this game. Like you said, Nick had 10 straight points in the third quarter to get the Mavericks up going. I thought that Dallas did a great job responding to every single run the Thunder tried to make because OKC was coming back every
Mm-hmm.
single time Dallas tried to extend the lead on the road, and they just
Well, the thing,
or go ahead, Nick.
Dallas got off to a hot start. That was the key for them. Like Luka hit 3 big threes in the first 3 minutes. He started off 3 for 3, and he had 9 when it was 13-2 in the first couple minutes, and they were able to hold on to that. Like you said, every time OKC kind of clawed their way back, Dallas just had an answer.
Yeah, I watched the first couple minutes. I was really like, oh, we're about to see Luka have like a 75-point triple
Yeah, I
double
thought
or
so.
something.
Big
I was just
time
like,
bounce
dude,
back. It was a big time bounce back because he really struggled in game one. Like that was one of
he
the worst
struggled this whole
games.
playoffs. I feel like this has definitely been his worst playoffs to date.
I mean, Kyrie has really picked him up though.
Not in this
Yeah.
game.
I'm
7 points.
so what do you guys think about Kyrie Irving this playoffs? Because obviously, I mean, he's been fantastic. He's been super efficient, but it's really only been in the second half of games. Like I'm not
Honestly,
sure
what's
or
impressed me is his defensive tenacity and like his willingness to be that primary. I'm gonna just harass the ball for 48 minutes. I haven't seen that from Kyrie like with this amount of consistency before, but I feel like he sees the need for it on this team, and it's cool that he has no problem doing it.
no question about it. I mean, when you can get both your stars buying in defensively, like Luca,
Hold on.
Luca had a couple games last series where he was locked in defensively. There were a couple stinkers in there as well, but both of them have had their moments where they've looked good defensively. In this game, it was Kyrie Irving because he's had some games where, it has not mattered that he hasn't had that many points. Like this game, he only had 9 points, but he had 11 assists, couple steals, a couple blocks. And it's not even just that, forcing difficult shots, just being up in the Thunder players and not making it easy for them to, make their moves. I mean, he was fantastic. He's been fantastic, I think, this whole playoffs.
I think it was a 6v4. I think this game, because the Mavericks had an extra player. His name's Chet Holmgren. He hit one shot. It was his off the one-handed catch at the end of the first quarter, the
Oh, the
buzzer
one
beater.
three. Yeah.
And then after that, and even before that, he looked terrible. It looked like he was playing for the Mavericks.
Yeah, he
At
was
least
he
I
was
thought.
missing he was missing some perimeter shots. But the Thunder also were in the fourth quarter. Like I believe they had a stretch where they missed 9 straight field goals, and that's really when Dallas made their final push to extend the lead up to 9-10 points to close out the game.
I know that feeling. That's
How
another
come
Nuggets Rockets game.
Marky D ain't playing Josh Giddey?
Because he has arguably been the worst player in this series or the least impactful. because
What's he shooting, like
Dallas is
13% from the field?
How
Dallas
do you
has
go
just let
minus
him
20?
shoot.
He was minus 20 in 11 minutes.
Exactly. In this
And he,
in this series,
very
minus
strange.
20 in minus 20 in game 2, -6 in game 1, or that might have just been the second half. No, -7 in game 1, -20 in game 2. So he's a -27 in both these games. And I'm curious to see if Mark Daigneault makes an adjustment going into game 3 because in the second half, he brought Josh Giddey off the bench and started Aaron Wiggins, who has been a nice boost of energy so far in this series. So I'm curious to see if he brings Giddey off the bench or how much he'll even play in the next few games because his him not being able to consistently make threes or be a threat outside, it just hurts this Thunder team in these situations.
Josh Giddey only wants 13 to 15 minutes a game, though.
Oh my gosh. We gotta talk about one more thing. I think is Derrick Jones Jr. the second bounciest dude left in the playoffs behind obviously Anthony Edwards. This dude he hangs up there, bro.
That's not a crazy. No, that's a good that's an interesting topic. Like he is one of the most athletic players in the game, and he came in and first, at first he was like just strictly a dunker, but playing with the Miami Heat for a couple years, and he had a year in Portland where he's become a solid perimeter defender. And this year with Dallas, he's knocking down corner threes and become a solid rebounder. So you might be right. You might be
I
right.
think
he's fun.
Donovan.
I think Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has to be up there as well.
Donovan's a dog.
Oh, Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin's still in the running.
Obi Toppin doesn't exist in real life. He's a made up person.
How about slam dunk contest runner-up Jaylen Brown?
Oh jeez.
Don't ever. He's not a runner.
Over Derrick Jones Jr.
Wait, Miles.
Wasn't he technically the runner-up?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, nice cup.
Wine and gold.
Wine and gold, baby.
No drinking on the Run on the Paint podcast.
Shut up.
This is a sober podcast.
Shut up. It's water.
It's our secret stuff.
It's the playoff juice.
The playoff juice,
water.
exactly. Looking ahead to Game 3 in Dallas, it's a quick turnaround. It's going to be Saturday afternoon at 3:30 in Dallas. What are some things you guys are going to be looking for in this pivotal Game 3?
Luka or SGA? I think that's the easiest thing to say here.
Yeah, I mean,
an easy way out, are we?
I mean, we'll see if the Thunder. I think the big thing is how the Thunder role players can play on the road because they didn't especially have the best game in Game 2. I thought immediately Jalen Williams, the J Will, came in the first quarter and he immediately got the Thunder off to a crazy start.
I was like, okay.
Hitting threes.
One thing I am looking for.
Yeah.
This was a good point I heard on the Hoop Collective. They were talking about how the depth of the Thunder, they can just continue to throw guys at Luka to stay in front of him, and that over the course of 48 minutes, like Luka just has to beat so many different defenders that he's going to wear down over the course of the game, and maybe that's why he hasn't been as efficient or as making as big of an impact. Like Jackson, you were saying, his playoffs have just been kind of not great, or not just at the level that he was during the regular season. But he's also playing on that knee, and that knee is definitely affecting him.
Yeah, he took a beating in this game as well. Like, it was the first couple minutes, or maybe the first minute of the game, where he hit his teeth, like, on the court, and he was continuously, like, grabbing at it, or at his tooth during the game, and he's been taking a beating. A lot of players have been taking tough beatings during the playoffs. But it is that time of year.
Not to go back to Evan Mobley he gets fouled almost every time he touches the ball.
Yeah.
Talking about it too, so that reminds me of when Grant Williams got stepped on last year by Joel Embiid, the dirtiest player in the league.
I remember that. Oh, Jackson always has to get his boy mentioned in the podcast.
Draymond's dirtier. He stepped on Sabonis last year too.
Sabonis held his leg.
Do you have a video? Do you have a video on your other channel about how dirty of a player Draymond is?
Probably should.
No, everyone knows that. This was like a thing that happened there in the playoffs this year that Joel was.
Relevancy, Jackson.
Yeah.
Relevancy.
I stay
Oh,
relevant.
but no, you make a good point, Nick, with the multiple defenders because just in this game alone, there were like 4 or 5 players that were guarding Luka or Kyrie all at one moment. You've got Dort, and Jalen Williams, J Dub are like the two good perimeter defenders in that starting lineup, and Shea is a terrific help defender as a perimeter guy as well. And off the bench, I thought Cason Wallace did a good job defensively. He's been one of the most impressive rookies that I've seen really throughout this whole year. It's been very impressive watching him play.
Shout out Kentucky.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You guys got anything else before we move on to previewing the next couple games?
Miles, are you looking for anything specific in Game 3?
Anything specific? I mean, probably the Thunder role players and what they decide to do with their lineup. Because I just in playoff games, especially at this in the second round, going on the road, you can't afford to be outscored by 20 points in 10 minutes when Josh Giddey's on the floor. To be specific like that, like you can't lose those minutes.
If you start Giddey and you go down 10 in the first quarter, it's like good luck coming back on the road.
Yeah, exactly. And Dallas is a tough place to play. I know OKC is the best crowd, and shout out to the fans for wearing those blue T-shirts because that looked awesome.
They looked like they were getting Kyrie's head there at the end there.
Yeah, I wish that crowds like actually everyone wore the shirts because it just looks awesome.
It does look awesome.
I'm mainly looking at that to see what the Thunder do with their lineup and if the Mavericks can continue to knock down these shots. I don't know if we'll see another game like this for PJ Washington. But I think this probably came at the most perfect time you could think of because I don't think Kyrie Irving's going to score 9 points again. So, I think it's the Mavericks stealing one on the road. It's going to be crucial for them to, take care of home court advantage. We'll see how this young Thunder team can respond here. Moving on, let's go to the Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks. Game 2 on Tuesday night. Crazy game. It seemed like every Knicks star was getting injured and having to come out of the game. Jalen Brunson went down in the first quarter.
And who still won the game?
It was weird. Like Jalen Brunson, it looked like it was a thigh or groin injury. Then it was reported as a foot injury. Then it comes out that it's a hand injury.
Well, when you hear sore foot and he's out the entire second quarter, you're like, okay, well, obviously they're hiding something.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to tell.
He played a whole quarter less of minutes that he would in a usual playoff game. He only played 32. He's been averaging about like 40 to 44 minutes. He still had 29 points, went 11 for 18 with five assists, 3 steals, and he's the best point guard in the NBA.
It's hard to make that argument right now. You can make the argument that he's been the best player in the playoffs, and then I don't think anyone could disprove that.
I mean, yeah, he outplayed the MVP last series, or Joel.
The reigning MVP.
Yeah.
The LVP, least valuable player. Shut your mouth.
But look, this starting lineup for the New York Knicks, it's just been great. Like, OG Anunoby. We'll get to his injury and how that could impact this series potentially, but he came out on fire with 28 points, hit 4 threes. Josh Hart once again playing every second of the game for the 4th or 5th time in the playoffs. It's just unheard of what this starting lineup is doing. Dante DiVincenzo, another big game from beyond the arc. Isaiah Hartenstein, 2 assists from a triple-double, and they pull out the victory. I mean, they really took over in the 4th quarter to hold off a very well-rounded offensive performance by the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, you can say that again. The Pacers' offense in this one was very fun to watch.
From what I've seen, though, I've seen that, like, Tyrese Halliburton basically just didn't do anything in the second half besides, like, pass. Like, I know I saw a meme. It was like Tyrese Halliburton in the second half, and it was like Ben Simmons passing it up against Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
Like, oh,
Well, he
yeah.
was really the reason for them being so close in the game in this one because like he controlled it and he did it with his scoring in the first half. Um, I do want to say one thing though that I think the Pacers need to play Ben Shepherd more.
Ben Shepherd has been fantastic.
This dude's plus 25 in the first two games. He was plus 12 in game one, plus 13 in game two. He was 3 for 4 from deep, and is just a floor spacer and 3-and-D guy, I guess.
Yeah, like Ben Shepherd comes in the regular season, he only shoots 31% from three. Comes in the playoffs, he's shooting 54% from three, and that's really all he's doing offensively. And then defensively, he's holding his own as well. He's been great in the playoffs.
Well, he's in Madison Square Garden, and it doesn't look like he's shying away at all. Like they're running actions for him, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna get this shot off, and if your hand's there, I'm gonna take one dribble, and then I'm gonna get this shot off. Like I'm not, it's my shot."
Yeah, like
So you love that confidence from
Stan
him.
Van Gundy and Reggie Miller were both like in the first couple of games. They're like, man, Rick Carlisle is running floppy
Wow.
for a rookie in the playoffs, and he's delivering. He's been fantastic, delivering big time buckets. I think you're right that he should play more. I think T.J. McConnell has been the only answer for Jalen Brunson.
Yeah,
Um,
defensively,
I mean, as much of an answer as you can get with Brunson. Better
they
than
just don't have
Halliburton.
anyone else.
Yeah, Halliburton and Nemhard. They just have. They're obviously Halliburton's out there to facilitate the offense, but Nemhard has not been the answer defensively. Neesmith has had to. They've had to have all their other guys on the wing players to try to get
Yeah,
rebounds to try to fend off the Knicks on the
Anunoby
rebounding
and Josh
end.
Hart.
Yeah. But no, the Pacers bench has been terrific through the first couple games. You even add in Obi Toppin and Isaiah Jackson. Their bench has been spectacular. And of course, every game you see the graphics that where they compare the bench scoring, and it's like, of course, the Knicks are going to have less because they literally play
Have
like a
one.
6-man
Yeah.
rotation, 6, 7-man rotation. But
Shout out to Isaiah Jackson too, because I was gonna text you guys, because I know we were watching the Pacers versus Cavs earlier in the year, and Jalen Smith was having a heater game one of the times versus Cleveland, and I was like, who is this dude that is playing over Jalen Smith? Because Jalen Smith had that role for most of the year, the backup spot behind Miles, and Isaiah Jackson is just like high intensity, high motor. He's out there hustling, tipping balls that come off the rim, and just making things happen for Indiana. It's fun. He's a very high energy guy.
yeah, he's definitely a high energy guy. Like looking back, he really was not in the rotation near the end of the season that much until game 6 of the Milwaukee series. They played Jalen Smith in game 1 of the Bucks series. They got blown out. And he's only played 3 minutes since Jalen Smith. He's really been replaced by Jackson in this the last few games, and Isaiah Jackson has delivered. Um, the Pacers, it's just if you're a Pacers fan, it's got to be really tough that you're down 2 games to nothing after 2 games where you played pretty solid for both of these games in New York, and you were in the position to win one, if not both of these games. So to be down 0-2, it's definitely tough. But I think you have to be feeling good about yourself going into game 3, especially if OG Anunoby is out. Well, he is out for game 3.
yeah,
Um, what do you guys think about game 3 with OG Anunoby being out, Jalen Brunson being game time decision? I would assume Brunson's going to play, but
Brunson's
OG,
gonna play unless his leg falls off.
yeah, I mean, pretty much.
And I think here's the thing: is it's going into Indiana, but the Knicks have an advantage that nobody else has in this playoffs, at least remaining, and that is that their fans travel better than any team I've ever seen. Like, I guarantee you, it's gonna feel like a Knicks home game in
Oh, really?
Indy.
Are they gonna be in Denver in the finals?
You think you're funny, don't you? You really think you're funny, don't you? Denver's got bigger fish to fry. So shut
Yes,
up.
they do. Yes, they do. We'll get to
Shut up.
that. We'll get to that next. But No, you're right. The Knicks fans definitely do travel. I think that the Indy crowd is
Stupid
gonna
Knicks.
go. I think that the Indy crowd is gonna be there and go crazy, though. I mean, you got to think for them, this is going to be their first time hosting a semifinal game in 10 years. So their crowd is gonna be there going crazy and try to will the Pacers to a victory. I think for New York, it's just tough. I mean, you're without three of your top front court
Marquee.
players. With OG Anunoby, of course, Julius Randle has been out. Actually, four guys out with Mitchell Robinson out and Bojan Bogdanovic from the first round. So
Right.
they're a team decimated by injury, but it has not mattered for this team.
I think it's gonna catch up with them here. Maybe not in this series. Although Indy should feel good. Like if they take 2 here, New York's banged up, anything can happen.
Because you just look at the rotation wise, like the Pacers have been playing 9 guys, and they've all been playing, pretty well. And for New York in this game,
it was
what
6.5
players with no OG and an OB probably. Like I don't even know who you go to. In this situation, like I would expect you to start Precious Achua probably in place of OG. Hart goes back to the 3, and then off the bench, McBride.
Just Deuce.
There's no other options at the 4 positions that Tibbs is going to trust. Like Cavs legend Mamadi Diakite. You're not going to play in the former NBA champion, former college champion too, but you're not going to play in the playoffs. But no, I think that this Indiana has to win Game 3. I think this is going to be your best chance to get back in the series with the Knicks being this shorthanded, only having really 6 playable guys. So excited to see how they can respond to the challenge. Nick, what do you think is going to be the key to Indiana getting back in this series?
Tyrese Halliburton. He has to be the best player on the court because there's no excuse not to be with the Knicks. The Knicks are as banged up as they are. Number one, Jalen Brunson having to play 40-plus minutes on a multitude of injuries, it sounds like, from a hand to a foot to whatever.
Whatever it was.
There's no excuse for Tyrese not to dominate the way he did in the first half of Game 2 for all 4 quarters in this one. And all 8 quarters of the next 2 games. That's what he needs to do for Indy to tie it back up.
Jackson, from a Knicks fan standpoint, what would you like to see going into Game 3 to get the 3-0 lead in a difficult situation with so many guys out?
I mean, with their depth, they have the guys that can kind of step up. I mean, with OG out, I'd imagine they're gonna start probably Bogdanovic, right?
Well,
He's out.
Bogdanovic has been out.
We just said they're probably gonna start Precious.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. I think, like I said from the beginning, if you watched our other episodes, I believe I said if Pascal starts to get hot, bring Precious in and put Precious on him because Precious knows his game. I mean, they played together for a couple of years, and I think Precious just matches up really well to him. I think Precious is underrated.
Hey, you can know someone's game as much as you want. You still can't stop it. Still gotta stop it. Like Donovan today, nothing you could do to stop that dude today.
All right, Pascal's not anywhere near Donovan Mitchell. Let's calm down, sir.
I think one advantage that Precious Achua does have that could help the Knicks going forward is, well, Precious Achua is probably going to play 40-plus minutes in this game. And when Precious was with Toronto, he was with the Raptors those years where Nick Nurse was running a similar 6 to 7 man rotation. So he's used to playing big minutes. I don't know about in the 40s, but he's been in those situations. He's been in those situations before. We'll see if he can step up here. Should be a lot of fun with Game 3 in Indiana. That is tonight, so should be a lot of fun to watch. The final game tonight, second game of the nightcap, is Game 3 of the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. We already recapped Game 2, but looking ahead to Game 3, we've now had a bunch of days to that the Nuggets have had to try to make their adjustments, and now this game going to Minneapolis. What do you guys think about this? Nick, we didn't have you on after the after game 2.
Go ahead, Gaza.
All right, Jackson. All right, go ahead, Timberwolves.
Denver. Listen, it's all. I hope at least that they've been preparing mentally because Anthony Edwards and company, but especially Anthony Edwards, is confident, and you know he's gonna be destroying the morale of every person that he makes eye contact with. He's going to be like a missile, just going from person to person, destroying their morale because he's going to hit a shot and he's going to say some crazy stuff or call them washed or something because that's just the type of person he is on the court. But yeah, I think Minnesota is getting Rudy back, and I think the Nuggets are rattled. I think they honestly, I don't see them going into Minnesota and taking Game 3 or Game 4 at this point.
You think it's gonna be a sweep? You getting out the broom?
I don't have the room here. No, it's on a vacation. But yeah, I'm just not confident in Denver right now. I mean, Jamal Murray didn't look good in Game 2. He was um getting mad obviously when he threw in the heating pad and the towel. Maybe that was him trying to signal that he was kind of done for the game, or that he was um whatever it's called, forfeiting,
Frustrated.
throwing in the towel.
Throwing in the towel, literally. I think the Nuggets all across the board were just frustrated. I mean, you saw Michael Malone. It almost looked like he was trying to get ejected to make a statement for his team to try to like, get them energized.
He just walked onto the court in the middle of play, basically, and walked right to the refs and just cussed him out.
Went right into Mark Davis. Well, according to Mark Davis after the game, Michael Malone didn't say anything that crossed the line, so that's why he stayed in. That's why he stayed in the game. So who knows anything about that? Nick, what do you think about Denver being down 0-2? What do you think about them going into Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm not confident for sure. I mean, these first 2 games have not been good at all. It looks like Denver doesn't really have a whole lot of answers for just defensive tenacity. I talked about it with Kyrie a little bit, but it's the same thing I'm seeing here from Minnesota, just outworking and not taking, just having pretty much a connected sense of willpower that we're not going to let you score and we're going to do everything in our power to fly around and make sure we don't let that happen. But do you guys remember what I was looking for in this series, the one key matchup I sat on here and talked about a week ago, before the series started?
It was Aaron Gordon versus Karl-Anthony Towns, correct?
So in the first 2 games, Karl-Anthony Towns has outscored Aaron Gordon 47-29.
And Aaron Gordon, most of those were in game 1, or was it game 2?
He had 20 in game 1 and 9 in game 2.
Right.
Or yeah, he had 9 in game 1, 20 in game 2.
Correct.
Oh. Yeah, whatever. Shut up.
So that is pretty much a script of how the series has gone. Just complete domination for Minnesota.
It's been very, very impressive. No question about it.
In my opinion, Minnesota has not had a single close game in the playoffs so far. It doesn't matter where they're playing. If they're playing home or away, they look like they're just miles ahead of everybody else. They look like their energy is just better. They look like they're ready to play and win, and it demoralizes the 2 opponents they've played so far. But also, that speaking of crowds, that Minnesota crowd is going to show out, and it's going to give this already confident team so much more confidence because they love it. Obviously, that everyone wants to play in front of hyped up fans.
Yeah, and I mentioned the Pacers fans were going to be crazy because it's the first second round game in 10 years. This is going to be the first second round game for Minnesota at home in 20 years. And on top of that, they have not played at home in 17 days. crazy enough because they swept the first
Oh
round,
yeah.
had the long rest, didn't have home court advantage this series, so their fans have been awaiting them to return.
That place is
With
gonna
them
be
being
ridiculous.
undefeated and them being, I mean, like probably not probably they've been the best team in the playoffs so far, but we all know the old saying: you can never underestimate the heart of a champion.
True that.
So if there's any team that I could trust to come back from this, it would probably be the Denver Nuggets and the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, who just won his third MVP. Got to give a shout out to Jokic, win third MVP in 4 years. We'll
Jamal
see.
Murray's gonna have to play better.
Jamal Murray has to play way better. I brought up the idea that maybe you could have Jamal Murray off the ball more and have Aaron Gordon handle things a little bit.
I like that idea. Even let like Aaron Gordon and Jokic maybe work a pick and roll once in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll work, but
Try to do that. Maybe when you post up Jokic, have him start a little deeper, closer to the basket.
pause.
But but so far, Minnesota has done everything right, really, in this series to make Denver look as uncomfortable as we've seen them with this core of players. So we'll see if the Nuggets can respond. Should be a lot of fun to see if they can respond. Coming in, this was a lot of people's most anticipated second round series. So to see the domination has been very very surprising. So we'll see how the champions can respond in games 3 and 4. Should be a lot of fun to watch. Some news from across the association. Already mentioned Jokic winning his third MVP. Congratulations to the Joker in some very special company, winning 3 MVPs in 4 seasons. Incredible stuff.
7-4.
What do you guys think about what Shaq had to say?
Um,
Shaq doesn't know ball. I'm sorry.
I feel like he's salty because he only got one.
I
Shaq doesn't think. Whatever. Shaq doesn't know ball.
I mean, to say that on live TV right after he gets awarded it is kind of crazy. Like, oh, I had this guy.
I don't have a problem with him saying that on TV. I have a problem with him saying that to Jokic in the interview. I think that is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Let's
I
be
agree.
honest. Did Jokic care at all about what Shaq had to say?
No, I don't think so, but I think that still
Yeah.
is ridiculous and disrespectful. I mean, this guy, Shaquille O'Neal does not get a vote for MVP, but I mean, I'm gonna assume he's a smart guy. He had Jokic in his top 3 for MVP. He had Shea winning it. Shea was the runner-up. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but Jokic is in that conversation. You don't have to. I don't think that Shaq saying that is gonna motivate Jokic because I just don't think that's gonna happen.
I just think like what you said is just disrespectful. It left a bad taste in my mouth after watching it.
Yeah, it's just not the right thing. Um, the Looking at the company he's in with Jokic now winning 3 MVPs, he's now one of 9 players to win 3 MVPs, along with Moses Malone, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, all those guys with 3, LeBron James and Wilt Chamberlain with 4, Bill Russell and Michael Jordan with 5, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with 6. So Jokic in some insane company. Um, definitely. Definitely is one of the greatest players that we've seen in this generation. Is going to go down as one of the greatest all-around offensive centers of all time once he retires and his career's over with. Um,
How
it's
many more
just
do you think he'll win?
how many more MVPs?
I could see one, but I don't see more than one.
Do you think that voters fatigue could be a thing after this year?
There's a lot
Voters
of guys
fatigue is
coming.
the dumbest thing in sports. I'm sorry.
I think so as well, but I think so as well, but I'm just saying because you think about it, of those guys that I listed, the only other current player in that list is LeBron, and he has not won an MVP in now 11 years. And you think of all the great players that have come through our league, and we have not had, a 3-time MVP in all this time.
LeBron should have like 8 or 9. Let's be real.
LeBron should have had a 3-time MVP at some point. I feel like.
Yeah, no question. He should have had a three-peat of MVPs probably at
He
some
could have
point in his
multiple
career.
DPOYs too.
Yeah,
And he
definitely.
could be an NFL MVP from if you asked him.
Yeah, if you could ask
And
Austin,
Austin
if you could
Rivers.
ask Austin Rivers,
Yeah.
that's a whole other thing. But no, shout out to Nikola Jokic winning his MVP. Um, Unfortunately for them, it may come in a non-championship winning season, which would be crazy. I mean, that would be a crazy trivia thing that Nikola Jokic will have won 3 MVPs in 4 years, and the one year that he didn't win was the year that they won the title. And then the other 3 years they didn't make it past the second round. That would be a crazy um, thing that could happen there. Moving on from that, we have a couple coaching news. We have the Phoenix Suns firing Frank Vogel after just 1 year of service.
I think it's ridiculous.
Tell me why you think it's ridiculous. You potentially called this happening, or well, you called him one of the most overrated coaches in the league. You did, I remember.
But I mean, after 1 year, they went 49-33. That's not bad at all. And he got, I don't necessarily think he got outcoached in the playoffs 100%, but I just think the roster that they put around him isn't like obviously you have Durant, Booker, and Beal. Outside of that, though, they didn't give him much to work with. I mean, any team with 2 stars plus Bradley Beal eating up all that contract space isn't gonna have a good team around it. And I thought Bradley Beal played great in the playoffs. I mean, at least efficiency wise. But I mean, the players were complaining about him, but it was Kevin Durant complaining about him. I don't know how I feel about that because just in my opinion, Durant, I don't know. I just feel like he hasn't been. He feels like Kyrie to me right now, at least before Kyrie got to the Mavs, where he's been like a cancer for
They're just like
every
a
team
sense
he's
of
gone.
entitlement.
Yeah, he thinks he's better than, and it's like no, you got to learn how to play with the team. Like I think he should have given Bol more minutes. Um, in the playoffs against Minnesota, I think all this like there's a couple things he could have done better, but it's his first season with a new team that was poorly constructed. To be honest, like that's just my opinion. I mean, they didn't even give
Yeah,
him a real point guard.
Yeah,
I agree
like
with you, Jackson.
yeah. Here, go ahead, Nick.
The issue for me is not Frank Vogel. It's the fact that they brought in Bradley Beal. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. I thought that Beal had a very decent year as the option. I think like Jackson said, it was the overall roster construction.
Yeah.
Like you bring in a defensive minded coach and you don't give him a point guard or defensive players. Like that's just not gonna how are you supposed to succeed if you give your defensive minded coach no defenders and no point guard to run an offense? And even then, this season, the Phoenix Suns were 13th ranked in defense, which obviously isn't spectacular, but that's above average. That's
Yeah.
pretty darn good for when you look at their team and your starting lineup includes Bradley Beal and Devin Booker as your backcourt and Yusuf Nurkic at the 5, which
Right.
is by
Not
no
a.
means an elite defensive center.
I'm actually like running through my head of players that'd be really good for this team, and I thought of somebody that like they could get for their like veteran minimum. I think like a perfect guy. I don't know. They might have him on their roster.
Eric
It might
Gordon.
just be crazy. No, not Eric Gordon. Shut up. Shut up. No, I think like a Javon Carter type point guard is the guy that they kind of need. Like someone they can get for like a veteran minimum because I
I
think
thought Eric Gordon was supposed to be the best veteran minimum ever
I'm
signed.
gonna drop kick you. I swear. Shut up.
Yeah, I just the way they just constructed this roster. I mean, it's not like they had a lot to work with. I mean, when you look at the Bradley Beal scenario last year, or I guess at that point it was the Chris Paul scenario. You were gonna trade Chris Paul because of his salary. Um, and your options
window.
were going to be to either waive him and get nothing in return or get an all-star caliber player, Bradley Beal, back. I think you have to do it every single time, but you just didn't get the complementary pieces. Like, I thought Grayson Allen, a very good year. I mean, led the league in 3-point percentage. I thought them getting in the Damian Lillard trade and dealing Ayton for Nurkic was good. I think Nurkic fit the team offensively, but once again, like, you just need more playmaking in a real point guard. Because I mean, all their guys are solid playmakers when you look at it. Durant, Booker, Beal, and Nurkic all averaged 4 assists or more per game, which is all solid. But
Yeah.
I think that Frank Vogel, he needed a better system and better players to really work with that. And it comes out almost immediately after that Mike Budenholzer is the front runner to get the Suns' job after a bunch of success with the Atlanta Hawks and the Milwaukee Bucks, a former championship head coach, year off this past season. What do you guys think about that potentially being a thing?
I think it'd be a great idea. I mean, I think that was Milwaukee's biggest, like that's the biggest mistake they've made since Giannis has been there, was letting Budenholzer go because of traumatic stuff that happened to him in a playoff run, which caused him to kind of be off his game a little bit. But I don't even know if you can necessarily say that. I mean, but yeah, I think it'd be a great new coach for them. But I don't think they should just be worrying about the head coach. I mean, I'm looking at their salary right now, and through 2025, they're going to be paying um, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Booker. In 2025, they'll be paying them a combined $160 million.
Yeah,
And
they're all
then the year
locked up.
before that, it's going to be 150 million. So I think just the next 2 years, figure out what to do. I think they should go, and I don't think they'll be able to get much for Beal, but I think they should go and maybe explore trading Kevin Durant.
Well, hey Miles, you said that they need a system, someone who can like bring in some systematic offense. There's a whole system out there in LA that's played with Kevin Durant before. There's a whole system out there and they're playing for the Clippers right now. You know what I'm talking about. He used a system. You want a system? Go get the system.
All
Dude.
right, all right,
James
all
Harden,
right,
baby.
all right.
James, oh
Uh,
boy, that'd
shut up.
be insane if that actually happened.
It's gonna be. I think if it's gonna be anyone, it'll be like Philly. Like I've seen rumors about a Joel Embiid and Durant swap.
What?
No, I have not seen. I haven't seen that. I've been thinking more Paul George to Philly to be a third option, which I think
And
would be
then James to
awesome.
Phoenix to be the
James to
system.
James to Phoenix. Oh my goodness. Oh, that would be something else. But I think the Phoenix Suns. I don't think they're in a bad position. I mean, you still have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker as your two top guys, and those are two of the greatest players in the game today. That's a great starting point. We'll see how they can, build around those guys with not much flexibility. I think it will come down to the coaching hiring, if it's Mike Budenholzer or someone else, and who they can get to be that point guard in that lineup. Another bit of coaching news: we have the Charlotte Hornets hiring current Boston Celtics assistant Charles Lee to be their head coach. Nick, what are your thoughts about Charles Lee being the new head coach of the Hornets?
I think anytime a guy gets his first chance to coach in the league, it's really special. Like it's a cool opportunity. Um, Charles Lee has been in the NBA for a decade, hired by the Hawks out of he played for Bucknell and he got hired in 2014. Then he won actually with Coach Bud, who we were just talking about in the Bucks, won the championship in 2021, and this was his first year with the Celtics after the Bucks moved on from Bud. So not necessarily the Joe Mazzulla coaching tree experiment that I was hoping to see with the Hornets, just because I wanted to see like how someone else from his staff would do it in a head coaching job. But I'm excited nonetheless. He's got a great sort of organization out there in Charlotte with two super dynamic young playmaking backcourt dudes who are going to be around for a while, I think. So it should be fun to watch them three develop together, maybe.
Hoping that the Hornets can stay healthy. That's really been their biggest problem the last couple of years. Is that LaMelo Ball, Mark Williams last year barely played any games. I think their guys need to play more games, and they need to improve on the defensive side of the ball, which I think that Brandon Miller could lead that. He's already been a terrific leader as a rookie. We'll see what they can do in the draft this season. I know the draft, not a lot. There aren't a lot of people that are really excited for the draft this year, but there are always prospects out there that you can, find and add to your team that can work out. So it
I
should
mean,
be a
yeah,
fun summer.
it's hard. It's hard to not be excited for a draft. I think it's more people are just like underwhelmed, I guess, by this draft because it is one of the weaker drafts that we've seen in a while. I mean, I still think it's going to be a great class. I just don't think it's going to produce the top tier talent like your Anthony Edwards, like your Victor Wembanyama. But it's going to produce, I think it's going to be more like the Cat. I think it's going to produce guys like Cat, like Brandon Ingram, guys like that.
Yeah, I think the last 3 years
Or
have spoiled everyone's
yeah,
draft thing because like you said, 2021 that was the Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Green draft.
don't mention him
Um,
in that
the
conversation.
the Paulo Banchero draft the next year, and then this past year, so many great rookies.
Even 2020. I mean,
Yeah,
LaMelo, Ant,
2020 was solid.
Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey. That class is
Isaac
stacked.
Okoro.
Stop it. Stop it.
Top
Stop
five pick
it.
Isaac Okoro. For sure.
Darius
Well,
Garland also a top
one
five pick.
final thing before we get out of here. I wanted to give you guys one little thing of trivia.
Oh, that's right.
Or I guess see if you can get all these. I want to see if you guys can name every All-Star teammate of LeBron James throughout his career. There are
Let's start early, okay? Did they have
yes.
to be an all-star while they played with LeBron?
No, they had to make an All-Star game throughout their career. There are 31 players, which I
Give me
think
a
is
second.
crazy.
Carlos Boozer.
Yes.
I said, give me a second, Nick. I have to pull something up.
Well, don't look them all
No,
up.
I'm pulling up a document so I can write
Larry
them down
Hughes.
as we go. Shut up.
I have them all listed here, so I can check them
Smack
off
Was
you,
as
Larry
you
Nick.
Hughes an
go.
All-Star?
No, he was not. He was not.
Mo Williams. Oh, wait,
Yes,
okay.
yes, Mo Williams.
Give me a second.
I think you guys could definitely get all these. There may be like 4 or 5 that are a little iffy, but I'll give you guys hints if you need them once we get later on.
Kyrie
So
Irving.
you said
Kyrie Irving.
we said Mo Williams, Kyrie Irving. Who was the other one you said?
Carlos Boozer. Those are the 3 you've said so
Delonte West.
Stop talking. D'Angelo Russell.
Yes.
Davis.
Anthony Davis.
Kevin Love.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard. Yes.
Kevin Love as well too. Yeah.
Kevin Love.
Oh, I put Dwight Love.
Dwight Love.
Yep.
What a player.
Dwight Love.
That would be some player.
I don't know, man. I'm too tired. It's 2 in the morning.
It is 1:50
I'm
in the morning as we're
Shut up.
recording
I'm
this.
figuring this out. Okay. Richard Jefferson.
No, that's what I'm surprised. He should have been an All-Star at some point.
Monkey feathers. Wade.
Yes. Yeah. Get the easy ones out. Yeah. Chris Bosh.
Ray Allen.
Ray Allen.
Kyle Korver.
Yes. Kyle Korver, All-Star.
Yep. Okay. Darren Williams.
Yes. Darren Williams. Man.
Okay. What other easy one am I missing from the Heat?
Oh, Rondo.
Yes, Rajon Rondo.
Yeah. Shane Battier.
No, close, close. I mean, you're getting good players.
Did he play a year with Alonzo Mourning for Miami?
No, he did not.
Let's think Cleveland. Verjon never made one.
No.
Boozer, Mo Williams. Who else? Big Z for a year?
Big Z, yes. Big Z.
Oh, I didn't know Z made an All-Star team.
I think he made 2 or 3 All-Star games in his career.
So we're at 14. Still 17 more? Damn.
Let's see. You're missing 4 from his first stint in Cleveland. One of them is super obvious.
What about Daniel Marshall?
No, I thought he could be. I thought he could be.
Verjon didn't make one, did he?
No.
Eric Snow?
2 of these 4 players are in the Hall of Fame.
Daughtry or Price? Probably not.
Darius Miles.
Yeah, no, not Daughtry or Price.
Hall of Fame?
Oh, Shaq.
Yes.
Oh, Shaq.
I was thinking, I was like, I thought I already said him, but then I looked, I was like, wait.
The other guy is Hall of Famer, even though he was undrafted. Former NBA champion, known for his rebounding.
Rebounding?
A lot of people forget that he played for the Cavaliers.
Can you give me one of his other teams?
One of his other teams.
Mm-hmm.
He was most known for the Detroit Pistons.
Ben Wallace?
Yes, Ben Wallace.
Oh, Ben, yeah.
Ben Wallace. And then the other 2 are super tough. So you guys, you can guess all around.
Who are they? Who are the other 2 from the Cavs?
Jack, do you want me to give them to you?
Did they play for any other teams?
Yes. This one guy was actually on the Minnesota Timberwolves the last time that they made the playoffs. For the Western Conference Finals. No.
Or Zerbiak?
Yes, Wally Zerbiak.
Oh, Zerbiak, nice.
And this one other player.
Anthony Parker.
Does begin with an A.
Antoine Jameson.
Antoine Jameson.
Yes, Antoine Jameson. There you go. So they're all the first stint Cavalier players.
I was thinking about him. I was like, wait.
You've got 4 more guys from his Miami Heat days.
Did Chalmers make one? No.
No.
Did Haslam?
No. Let's see. This first guy.
Oh.
All right, go ahead, Jackson. Do your thing.
Let's think. Close. Did Tayshaun Prince play for the Heat one year?
No, he did not. And I'm actually wrong. The one guy I had. I thought he made an All-Star game. He did. So it's 3 players. I thought Mike Bibby made an All-Star game.
Oh, okay, perfect. We're chilling. We only need 11 or 12 more. Let's go, Nick.
Yeah.
Freaking go.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I'm okay with some hints, honestly.
Okay, let's see. So this first guy is a former head coach in the college world. Former, he was a top 5 pick.
Juwan Howard?
Yes, Juwan Howard.
Oh, yeah.
See, I want to make sure that this fact is actually true. Yes, okay. So this next player is a guard, former 30-point per game scorer that not a lot of people know about.
Shabazz Napier.
What?
Shabazz Napier.
Yeah, I have no idea who the hell this could be.
This one's a tough one. Former 30-point scorer.
Actually, in the NBA?
Yes, in the NBA. He actually lost to the Miami Heat in the 2006 NBA Finals.
Who did they play in the 2006 NBA Finals?
Big piece of this team that he played for.
Wait, who did they play in the 06 Finals?
The Mavericks.
Correct.
Not Jason Terry, right?
No, not Jason Terry.
Not Carter.
This guy is a 2-time All-Star.
30-point per game average?
Eric Dampier.
This is a guy that's always in the talks for like, oh, this guy. I hope he's a head coach someday.
Jerry
Harold Miner?
Stackhouse.
Jerry Stackhouse.
Oh, okay.
Just looking at these dudes' names.
And then the
I
final.
mean, I know who Jerry Stackhouse is.
And then this final Miami Heat player, Jackson, you could definitely get this. 2-time All-Star. Actually was a big part in defeating LeBron James in the playoffs one year in his career when he was an All-Star. Big time 3-point shooter for his time in the league and for his position.
His time in the league. 3-point shooter. I said Ray Allen, right?
Yes. This guy's name also begins with R. Former All-Star.
You know who was on that Dallas Mavericks team that lost to the Heat in 2006?
Who?
Adrian Griffin.
Yeah, he was. One of the teams he made the All-Star game for was the Seattle Supersonics. I could just give this one to you, Jackson, if you want to.
Yeah, my brain doesn't exactly work.
All right, Rashard Lewis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Rashard Lewis is a beast. I have his card in 2K actually. So.
Okay, so you've got what, 9 guys remaining?
Oh, I forgot to type him in.
9 players to go. You could definitely get all of these.
So then it's just Cavs and Lakers.
Correct.
Lakers. Oh, Brandon Ingram.
Yes, Brandon Ingram.
Lance Stevenson.
Lance Stevenson, baby.
Did JaVale McGee make one?
No, JaVale McGee did not make an All-Star game. I mean, in this list, we've got 2 MVPs.
Oh, Westbrook.
Yes.
And then another MVP.
Wasn't D Rose on the Cavs for a minute?
Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose.
How do I not have a Derrick Rose Cavs jersey?
So let's see. You've got 1 point guard, 3 centers, and 2 small forwards.
3 centers.
Jackson Hayes.
What?
Jackson Hayes. Hey, definitely play along if you're listening. Let us know in the comments how many you get out of these if you're still watching. 3 centers. One of these centers has won Defensive Player of the Year.
That's all.
Yes. I knew you would get it after that one.
Didn't Boogie play for them for like?
He never officially played a game, so he does not count. One of these centers is an NBA champion.
NBA champion center.
Andre Drummond.
Well, yes, Andre Drummond is one of them.
Kuzma?
No, not Kuzma.
NBA champion center.
Yes, NBA champion center. Former first-team All-NBA center.
DeAndre Jordan.
Yes, DeAndre Jordan. So now you've got
I forgot he played.
2 small forwards and 1 point guard. The point guard was with Cleveland.
Did we say Carmelo?
Carmelo Anthony. There you go. So now just a point guard and a small forward, both with the Cleveland Cavaliers in his second stint. This one small forward, I believe, was recently inducted. No, he was not. He was in the conversations to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. 4-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. NBA champion who defeated LeBron James in the NBA Finals.
Sean Livingston.
What?
His first name is Sean.
Wait, what? Sean.
Oh, so stupid.
It is late for the. It is late. I can.
Wait, Sean.
Sean Marion.
Yes, Sean Marion.
Oh my
Oh,
God, he
really?
played for the Cavs.
Yes.
I didn't know they
Wow.
were teammates.
Former Cleveland
Wow.
Cavalier Sean Marion.
He
And then
played so
the
great.
final point guard, journeyman throughout his career.
This one.
Ty Jerome.
Dude, I wish.
Devin Harris?
No, not Devin Harris. This
Danny
player, this
Shut up.
point guard has played with LeBron, actually both in Cleveland and in Los Angeles.
Rondo.
No, we said Rondo. You said Rondo.
Not Rondo.
Point guards that played with LeBron.
Matthew Dellavedova.
No.
One of the, let's see, I could just give it to you. The greatest scorer in NBA history for a player under 6 feet tall.
Oh. Isaiah Thomas.
Yes, Isaiah Thomas.
Hey, we got them all.
There you go. You guys got them all. I know. I wish
Good
that
teamwork,
time
Jackson.
I wish that could have gone better.
Good teamwork.
But no, that was good. That was good. Might have to do some in the future. When Joey's on, this could go quick.
Yeah.
Because this teammate, the teamwork, the run in the paint teamwork is gonna be all out for that. Jackson, what did you think?
I mean,
How do you think you did?
I think it's time for me to make a thumbnail.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. Like I just there were some where I was like, it made me think a little bit. Like Andre Drummond, I was like, oh shoot, I forgot he barely played for them.
Yeah.
Same with DeAndre Jordan. Same with Sean Marion, IT. But then there were some obvious ones that took me a minute. I was like Brandon Ingram. I was like, oh yeah, he played with him for a year.
Yeah, sometimes you forget Brandon Ingram did play with LeBron James.
Derrick Rose, Shaq.
Yeah. Ben Wallace, baby.
Well, Shaq. I thought of Shaq immediately, but I just forgot to say him because again,
Cavs legend.
Cavs legend, Shaquille O'Neal. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching / listening. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Leave a comment with your thoughts on all these series, the games going on tonight. Shout out to Tristan and Shaquille O'Neal. Also, shout out to our boy. Shout out to our boy Joey. Hope you feel better. Couldn't be with us here today.
No rest for the sick.
No rest for the wicked, right, Jackson?
Yeah, he can't say anything about Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson plays through his impracticalities. So.
Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.